Alright, what's up everybody? My name is Brandon. This is my brother and fellow boxing fanatic, Kirby Allen. I shouldn't say your full name. We'll just go Kirby Allen. But we're going to break down...
Find out your last name, it's over.
Yeah, we're going to break down 2 fights today. Both of these fights, I believe, are in January.
January 19th.
Both of them are on the same night?
Yes, well...
Fuck! Are they both on
Devon
Showtime?
Alexander... No, Devon Alexander and Kell Brook is still
I think they got pushed back till February.
It might be till February 23rd, but as of now, I believe it's still kind of tentative. But it's at least... They're supposed to go head-to-head. Devon Alexander, Kell Brook being on Showtime. Salido-Garcia being on HBO. Both being a triple header. But that might all change, and HBO just might take it. So,
I think they're on different nights. I think Kell Brook suffered like an ankle injury or something, so they're having to push the fight back. But that's all irrelevant because we're going to break down the fights and tell you who we're how the fight's going to go, who's going to win. We're not experts. This is just the fucking opinion of 2 guys that have watched boxing between us collectively for about 40 years.
So you should take it.
So we don't know shit, right?
You should take it. I mean, what do we know?
Right. But let's start with Mikey Garcia versus Orlando Salido. My thoughts on this fight, I'll start. Mikey Garcia, he's a good little fighter. In the beginning, I didn't think he was anything special, really. He shows, he doesn't fight like a typical Mexican. He fights kind of like, he reminds me of like this new breed of Mexican fighters that actually box and show their boxing ability. Like Canelo and Mikey Garcia. They pick their shots.
Vasquez.
Yeah, they pick their shots very well, and they're just not, they're not Orlando Salido, basically, who's basically wants to beat you on his toughness and his stamina, etc. What do you think about Mikey Garcia?
I wasn't a big fan of him. I still think there's some tests that he needs to be in front of him. However, with his last fight, I was pretty impressed with the young fighter. His girlfriend's calling him right now. Should he answer? I think Mikey Garcia's he's pretty athletic, pretty smart. He's a really good boxer. He's got a pretty long reach. Can't ever go wrong with Robert Garcia in your corner. That's good for him. Orlando Salido is your typical boxer who also has a lot of heart. 11 losses, 1 being to Marquez. There was a no contest. Juan Manuel Marquez, yes.
He losing on Marquez? Oh, he did.
Yeah, Marquez
in 2004.
Yeah, back in 2004. So that's that's a given. But
obviously, I haven't seen that fight.
That's a given. And then he did win against Robert Guerrero. Well, it's a no contest now. But his last 2 notable losses being Gamboa. I'm sorry, not last 2, but his last loss being Gamboa,
right.
Which they Top Rank tried to sell him off to Juan Lopez, and that didn't go so well. Hence, we had 2 fights in which he got dusted off. You think that he's an old-fashioned boxer, and he is. However, he does it really fucking well. With that fight, I have to go with Salido. Pretty close fight though. It's a really tall order for Mikey Garcia to just come in here and stop Salido, or at least stop him in his tracks and take the belt from him. So I'll definitely be impressed if he was to beat Salido. But the record of Salido just can't be ignored.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna pick Mikey Garcia.
Fuck out of here.
Orlando Salido, he's basically been hot and cold in his entire career. He wins some, he loses one. He wins some, he loses one. He's on a pretty good roll right now with his 2 wins over Juan Manuel Lopez. But
also, not to mention a 5 win streak of TKOs. So.
Oh yeah, he stopped his last 5 opponents, but last 4 opponents because he fought Marquez or Lopez twice. but Lopez has no chin, and it was just a matter of time before someone put his ass down and he wasn't going to get up. But Lopez was a good fighter, so I'm not going to discredit him, but he does have a leaky chin, and Salido was just too tough and too much pressure. But you have Mikey Garcia, who he's also a pretty tough guy. I mean, he has a pretty good knockout ratio, 30 wins and 26 knockouts. He's obviously undefeated. He hasn't fought the competition that Salido has, but it's basically, this fight is it's about how much do you believe in Mikey Garcia as a fighter. And I think he's a pretty good little fighter, and I think that he picks his shots well. Orlando Salido leaves a lot of openings for himself, so I'm going to pick Mikey Garcia to probably win a decision, but it'll be a good fight, and Orlando Salido will have his moments.
I think the pressure of Salido is going to be too much for a young fighter who hasn't really been in there with elite fighters of that caliber. Now, Salido has been on a 5-win streak, all TKOs. That is kind of I'm not going to say it's misleading, but 2 of them was Lopez with the faulty chin, and then I believe the other 2 or 3 was pretty much in his hometown of Puerto Rico, which is pretty much payday fights, stay active fights.
Puerto Rico? What are you talking about?
Not Puerto Rico, I'm sorry.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mexico.
yeah.
So
moving on. Devon Alexander versus Kell Brook. I think Devon Alexander's gonna whip that ass. He might even
I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna agree with you right there. I think he's just gonna dust his ass off.
I do not believe in Kell Brook whatsoever. He is like, oh man, like his best win. His best wins are Matthew Hatton and Carson Jones and Lovemore Indu, and in between there he sandwiched the bummiest list of fighters you ever see in your life. The Brits are very, very high on Kell Brook. I have no fucking idea why. I don't understand why you would be high on him when he got taken to the brink of defeat by Carson Jones. And Carson Jones is a journeyman, and they want to build up Carson Jones to be something that he's not. They want you to believe that he was a fringe contender and he's underrated, but that's just not the case. Carson Jones he's a B fighter, all right? And the fact that Kell Brook went life and death with a B fighter, guess what that means? Kell Brook is a B fighter, and Devon Alexander is, he's not a B fighter, that's for sure. It's hard to say he's an A fighter, but he beat Lucas Matisse. You're going to say that Matisse was robbed, but he wasn't. It was a very close fight. It could have went either way. Okay, he got the win that night. He beat the shit out of Marcos Maidana.
Beat the shit.
He was able to neutralize Randall Bailey's power, who's probably like the hardest puncher since Mike Tyson. He fucking went 10 rounds with Tim Bradley. That was a shitty fight, but
impressive performance with Juan Urango.
He's
really good.
Looked really good against really good fighters. If Kell Brook has been in there with some of those guys, he wasn't gonna. What do you think, man?
Devon Alexander, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated welterweights and pretty much fighters all around. He's really good at what he does. He's a sharpshooter. He's a really good boxer. He's young. He's athletic. He has a really good fucking chin. Yeah, which I was really surprised on. You want to say, well, no, he got knocked down by Matisse. Whatever. Okay, but Randall Bailey gave him some pretty good flush shots that he took, and whether you like the fight, if it was boring or not, he did a really good job in that performance, and he took the shots. You really, and Brook ain't bringing that to the table.
Brook ain't standing up to no Randall Bailey shots. Are you kidding me? Please.
I think Brook
after 10 rounds with Carson fucking Jones.
Brook would have an issue with Maidana in that fight, and probably would lose. So I think even more sharpshooter like Devon is going to pick him apart, and I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get up after a 10 count.
There was fucking on this website I discussed boxing with a lot of people from around the world, You know, I get all types of opinions, and they really believe that Kell Brook has a chance. They really believe that. I don't. This is like it reminds me of Lucian Butte. A lot of people believed in Butte, but I never believed in Butte because he only beat bums. And look what happened when he stepped up in competition. What happens in the ring, it shows the type of fighter that they are. And Devon Alexander is going to show that Kell Brook is not
elite.
He's not an elite fighter. His best bet is to hide out in England and beat up on the Matthew Hattons of the world
and hopefully bank a check with Amir Khan. That's it. Okay, so that's what we got roundup for this night of fights. Also, Triple G fights as well. I don't know who else is on the triple header for HBO, and I don't know who else is fighting for the Alexander-Kell Brook fight going on there. But these are the two main fights: good welterweight fight and good test for Mikey Garcia. We'll see if he outshines, or if he does pretty good.
Shines under the lights.
We'll see. Is he hype or is he the real deal? We will find out. I am Kirby. This is Brandon. We are just giving our knowledge of boxing, and take our advice. Don't. Whatever. Fuck you.
What the fuck was that about?
Gonna get a lot of disagreements. Fuck you.
That shit's for the Brits.